when it really comes down to it, each one of us, we are as stories. And it is those stories that give us our strength and our resilience. And probably the greatest gift of aging is if we can figure out creative ways to share our stories. Because we are the keepers of our culture. And we are the keepers of the history, tradition of where we've come from. And that's what makes us who we are. And that's what makes America what America is. And that connection to building a society for all ages is what, to me, creative aging is about. When you learn something new, it gives you, as you said, beautifully, that sense of, I'm still here, that sense of self-worth, and that confidence that you can go on. One of the participants in the research study, she was ill, and the #1 mental illness for older people, what do you think it is? Depression, because of loss. Doesn't have to be. So Antonia, she went to her doctor, you know what she said? She said, I'm in an art class. I am now an artist. I don't need Prozac. And so that is a beautiful statement of how arts gives us confidence, self-worth, and gives us a sense of purpose and meaning in our life. It has been proven scientifically that when you learn something new and you make a new friend, you are improving your quality of life, your health, and you're also building a society for all ages. So this was the essence of Jean's research. And I want to give you some other research, just so you can see how important the arts truly are. There's research that shows when the mind, the body, and the spirit work together, then our immune system increases. And that is what the arts do. The difference between sitting in front of a TV and singing is when you're sitting in front of a TV, your mind can go anywhere. When you are singing, your mind, body, and spirit is working in unison, integrated together. So Jean used to say, with aging, art is like chocolate for the brain. Major findings. Okay, the people who participated in the arts group actually, they did a pre-post, before and after. So afterwards, they used less medication, had fewer doctor visits, did better on the depression scale, the loneliness scale, the morale scale, and this was phenomenal, actually. The arts groups increased their activities. And you know, here's another outcome. The arts groups also, they started living longer than the people who didn't participate.
What was the difference in the depression scale and the morale scale?
Okay, you can look that up on, it's called creativeaging.org, and you can actually see the study results. And all the other ones I'm going to show you. So here we have, this is my first time as an artist. Before a year ago, I only knew work. This is one of the elders share the arts groups. And I just want to say on this that all of us as we get older are redefining who we are. And to have to do that in 1 year, to have a new sense of self, that's incredible. I make my life something beautiful every week. This class has saved my marriage. So I want to tell you Tito's story because it's very funny. So he was the only man in this arts group where they were making what's called identity jewelry. You know, jewelry that reflected who you were right now. And this group, they went to the museum of, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They looked at the Egyptian jewelry and how that reflected the Egyptian society. And so Tito went home and started making his wife jewelry from her favorite colors. And she fell madly in love with him again, and he was bragging to all the men in the center. Well, they all wanted to join the group. And so they brought me in as the research director, and I had to say, no, you can't join the group. This is a study. But they were so intense on having Esperanza, the artist, work with them, that they opened up a store where they said, we'll sell anything you make, so we can be sure that the artist is available when the study is over to continue and teach. And that entire center, Carver House Senior Center now, is a hub of Puerto Rican artwork. Because the study's over and the guys raised the money, and they actually changed what that center does and the activities at that center. So, thank you, Tito. And I just want to show you some of the other study sites. This was in San Francisco at the Center for Youth and Elders. I just want you to appreciate the amount of skill-based learning. Remember, Jean was studying the effects of learning a new skill as well as meeting new people. And then the other study site was in Washington, D.C., the chorale singers. And in terms of social engagement, let's just look at this. So the chorale, unquote chorale, performed at the Kennedy Center. And look at the audience of friends, relatives, and public that gets to see and revision what it means to be older. Conclusions. So this study has had an enormous impact on being able to drive funds to programs for older adults in the arts. Because one, what Jean did was he number crunched, and he figured out that just in medications alone, $13 billion a year in Medicare money could be saved. That's a lot. And then he figured out that in terms of doctor visits, you could save over $6 billion a year. So here's my vision. And here, the National Center for Creative Aging is really working toward this, and I invite North Carolina and Winston-Salem to please try to join the effort. Can you imagine? Instead of being diagnosed with depression and given Prozac, we're given a dance class, an arts class, a music class, and Medicare money would go toward that. And I'm going to talk about this a little later, but the National Center for Creative Aging has been working with the National Institute on Health and now Congress, and there were 2 white papers written on policy to actually keep measuring, and we need to get more results across the country using Jean's indicators. And I do think that, I am very hopeful that within a couple of years, 5, let's say, if everybody joins in this replication of evidence-based work on our programs, that we will be able to convince Congress that to make arts programs for older people a Medicare reimbursable prescription.